other stuff. Lo and behold, nobody confiscated it. And it got home, and my father put it on top of the humidor in the store. We had big cigar humidors. He put it up there. And when we were in Rockaway, we didn't have room for any of that stuff. When we finally got our own house, we took that package with some other package, and lo and behold, there's the gun. I don't want the goddamn gun. I put it up on the top of the closet. And
As you come in.
as you come in the house, I put it on top of that hall closet. And I figured, who came in?
Mrs. Cornfeld.
Mrs. Cornfeld one day, and she sees the gun up on the top of it. She said, "What are you doing with the gun?" I said, somebody gave me the gun. I don't even need it. Well, Mom is a very good citizen. She heard on the radio that you got to turn in all guns, all foreign guns that were that people got during the war. Well, this wasn't a foreign gun. This was a United States manufactured gun, and it wasn't a foreign gun, and they didn't mean this to be turned in.
They really didn't specify whether it's foreign.
They
said
did.
all
Captured enemy guns or whatever. Anyhow, she heard this thing, and she said, "We got to turn in the gun." Right? And turn the gun. So we're going out to Rockaway for Rosh Hashanah, and we're going over to the Cross Bay Bridge. And I says to Mom, "You know what we ought to do? Throw the gun over the bridge, and we're through with it. That's the end of it." No. They said you got to turn it into the police station. So, did you hear this story? Yeah. So we get to the police station.
Which is right over the bridge.
Right over the bridge. And I put the gun down on the counter. And the guy's talking on the phone. We're saying, "Come on." Yeah, I said, "Well, wait, forget it. Let's walk." We start to walk. It's, wait a minute. And they take us in the back. And the detectives grill us on this thing. And I think I had to go home to...
Yeah, they held me hostage.
Held her.
You said you had an honorable discharge.
Yeah, they sent me home for the honorable discharge.
Get the honorable discharge, and then they released me there.
They released your mother.
Until he came back.
I released your mother. They finally released us, and we get out to Rockaway for Rosh Hashanah, and we're late. And Yetta tells her father what happened. He says, 365 days a year, and you got to pick Rosh Hashanah to turn in a gun? And the funny part is, when we went in, we were grilled by the detectives. He looks at it, he said, "Why didn't you just throw it off the bridge when you went over the bridge? You should have thrown it off in the water." So anyhow, I came back a couple of times. The first time I came back was, I guess, Rosh Hashanah, the next day.
What happened was that they said that they picked the day, and it was the second day, Rosh Hashanah, where you had to come back for a hearing. So you're going to walk from, you did walk.
I
you
did
walked
walk.
with Albert,
Yeah.
Was it with Albert?
I don't remember, but
You
anyhow,
walked with somebody.
I walked back there, and I had all the secretaries and the people that took testimony and everything were Jewish. They weren't there, and they postponed it. And eventually, they did have a thing, and the district attorney gets up. He saw that I'm not a criminal. And
They did all ballistic
they
testing
did ballistic tests on the gun, and they didn't have any record. And then probably my story was right. And and then this guy gave me this certificate, saying that he gave me the gun with his name and his number and all that. And we couldn't find that slip. So they asked me, what was the guy's name? I don't remember. What's his serial number? I don't remember. What was the date that he gave it to you? I don't remember. So they had a hopeless case with me. But anyhow, when I finally came back, the district attorney by that time must have figured that I was a harmless guy and I really wasn't a criminal. So he got up in front of the judge and he said, on such and such a date, at such and such an hour, Colonel so-and-so and so-and-so, serial number so-and-so and so-and-so, and he made up a whole complete thing, and they find no criminal activity with this gun. And judge turns to me and he says, "Is this a fact?" Well, it's all lies, it's all made up. But I could just see if I say, "No, this is not," what's going to happen with me with the district attorney. So I said, "Yep, that's exactly the way it was," and I dismissed the case. Yeah.
And then goes the news. No, if you want to watch the news.
Yeah, okay.
There's news
Well,
in it.
but we didn't. Well, all right. Do you want to do a little bit more after the news?
All right. If you
All
want.
right. Well, you want to turn it off?
How much more does that have to go?
I don't know. It's 2 hours total. We've done.
Morning, then forget.
Okay, so
So-
where do we go?
So you were were in Kunming, and then you were in that other place. What is it?
Luliang.
Luoyang, right? And then the war ended.
Mm.
How did you find out that the war ended?
No, we just heard it over the radio.
Oh, you were listening to the,
Yeah.
what is it, like the
Well,
Voice
we-
of America or something?
Yeah, well, let's see how that worked out. They had, the war ended, but I was there a couple of months after the war ended.
Oh, really? Why
Yeah.
did they keep you there after that?
Well, you had to have a certain number of points. You got points for total service, points for being overseas, points for getting a Purple Heart, all things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And people got a certain number of points, and then they went home. So I stayed there till I had enough points, and then I came home.
So the United States stayed in that area after you left?
I think when we left, I came back to Kunming before we were discharged. And I know when we got there, when we first arrived, people used to go, Ding Hao, Ding Hao, which means hello, great. And when we left, they were saying, Boo Hao, Boo Hao. We were very unpopular at that point, because the Americans had a lot of money compared to the Chinese, and the Americans were going out with the Chinese girls, and they were very happy to see us go at that point. And I guess at that time they figured Chiang Kai-shek was on his way down, and they wanted to get in on a new regime.
Mm-hmm.
So we were very unpopular when we left.
So how did you get back from, you went back to Kunming, and then from
Kunming.
Kunming, how did you get back to the
We
States?
flew back.
Flew back to the United States?
Yeah.
Directly?
No, not directly. We flew to Calcutta. From Calcutta, oh wait a minute, what am I talking about?
I thought you
We
came
came back by
boat,
ship. We
by
flew-
ship.
I think we flew from Kunming to Calcutta, and then we took a ship.
Mm-hmm.
And the ship, I remember, came in at Seattle, did I say? Or
Seattle,
Vancouver?
and you,
Seattle.
how about you stopped in the Philippines? You got
Oh, we
those
stopped in the Philippines, we couldn't get off the ship. But do you know, in the study, we got a pair of wooden red shoes,
Oh,
carved
yeah, I
wooden
think
shoes.
so.
Well, we stayed in the harbor, and then all the Filipino small boats came alongside, and they wanted American cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
And you throw in a carton of American cigarettes, and you point to one of the items that you wanted on their boat, and it was a swap.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got those wooden cogs, I guess, all carved out with a little house in the middle or something.
Mm-hmm. So then from the Philippines, you stop in Hawaii again? Or?
No, then we came right to the west coast
Uh-huh.
in the Philippines.
And how did you get from Seattle back to New York?
I think by train.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Yeah.
So when did you get back to New York? When was it?
When was it, Yetta?
1945,
Yeah, something like that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we became engaged, you went back to school.
So wait, so when did you become, how long after you got back did you become engaged?
6 months?
Right.
How much before the war when did you two meet?
Oh, well.
We were engaged and unengaged and engaged again, and
But when did you meet?
well, how old were you when we had that party in my house?
Well, wait a minute,
19?
I was teaching Sunday school.
Yeah.
And your boys club.
Yeah, well, we had with the Congregation of Good Association, Grandma's congregation. That was very active at that time. Had a lot of young people, and Mom was teaching Sunday school, and at that time I was president of our club. We had a club. We had a club in the neighborhood, and what happened was that we got to be pretty sophisticated. We needed a real meeting place. So on the corner, Myrtle and Wyckoff, today that's a very expensive rental to get an office in that building. That time it was empty. It was during the bad times when people weren't renting anything. So we made a deal with I guess the superintendent, not the landlord, and we went up the back way and we had this little club room. We brought up some old beat up furniture, and that's where we had our meetings. Eventually, the police and the fire department came up. They didn't have the proper contract, and we didn't have the proper this and that. And we were looking for another place to meet. At that time, Leo Chase's father, I think, was president of the shul, wasn't that it?
Could be, I
He
don't
was
know.
president of